Alright, if it's too small or anything, just tell me.
No, it's not bad at all, actually.
Well, it might be bad later. Alright, so last time we ended with these changes for the token documentation. So I guess it's time to send the pull request now. So I open the changes branch, which is not that easy to get to since I pushed the branch last week. So I had to find it somewhere in the GitHub UI. But here it is. Tokens are documented manually. Then there's an include for the token list for the automatically generated list. Version changed. That was missing. These grammar snippets are updated to the actual grammar and they use the end marker now. I think that's the only change. Oh, there is this new line here. Might need to change that. Let me check the documentation for file input. Nope. Components. So statement. Does statement include a new line? There's statement list, which requires a simple statement. So there is no bare new line here. Need to add that back. For now. Right, so that's level components. File statement or new line. And that ends with end marker. Then interactive is the same as before, except it itself can be an end marker. And eval has expressions, and expressions are this. Let me also look at this expression list. Right, expression. So it's the same thing. Let's see. This is expression list, and in the actual grammar it's called expressions. And it is the same thing. It is the same thing. So I guess we should stick to calling it expression list for now. So expression list, new line, end marker. And Another thing I'm not sure about doing just yet with this token related change is renaming these rules. That should probably be a separate change. So let me change them back to file input and interactive input and eval input. Which gives us this diff, statement new lines added back, interactive input is renamed, and eval input has expressions lists back. I'll call that revert some changes to the top level components. And let me also merge in the main branch and diff to the main branch just to see what changed here. So this statement new line, oh, I see, I changed the order here, which I probably shouldn't do. And this one was expression list new line star, and this is adding another marker. So one more thing here is to change the order back, just so that we don't change things we don't need to. So n marker is added, n marker is added, n marker is added. And one more thing to do is to check the grammar file in the existing documentation to see if with these reverts, we're still following the actual grammar. So file is statements and marker, and statements in this version do they have a new line here? Compound statement have a new line? No. How does this work? File is statements, which is a list of statements, which can be compound statement or simple statements. Compound statement can be all of these. And is a new line included in them?
Oh, maybe the new line is not included in file input because it's not keyboard related.
Well, you can have an empty Python file with a bunch of new lines in it. Now, if I have a
Right.
many
But I
new
think,
lines,
no. They can be new line, but I think they're not required, right? In other words, the file, the input is, if you're starting with a file, then the Python interpreter is not looking for your keyboard. It's not looking for the end of line. It's not looking for the new line in the keyboard input. Everything else seems to be like a keyboard input or standard in somehow.
oh, these are tokenized as NL. That's interesting. Aha. Oh, I see what this is doing. So if there's an empty line, it gets tokenized as NL. And NL is, according to our new documentation, token value used to indicate a non-terminating new line. The parser ignores these. So blank lines are ignored.
Inside files.
Well, for the tokenizer, it doesn't really matter. Or the tokenizer doesn't really have this context.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Blank lines are effectively treated as comments. Now let's add in a comment as well. Yep, there's a comment, and a comment new line. That's interesting. That's interesting, and yeah, we should probably change this. So, how far do we want to go? So statements, a statement plus, and a statement can be a compound statement, so function definition and so on. And other compound statements will end with this block, and the block has new line, indent, statements, dedent. How does that get tokenized? So we will have def foo so that's def foo parentheses colon new line, that's there, indent, and the body with its own new line, and this is the blank line at the end. Alright, so the statements here should include the new line. We can have simple statements, which is the other form of statements, and those need to end with a new line. Aha. Okay. Alright, so an empty line does not generate new line tokens, which means this new line here is not necessary, right? The statement itself should contain new lines. Now the problem is, let's also check if the docs version of the grammar includes the new line in statement. Yeah, that statement lists new line or compound statement, and the compound statement will eventually have a suite which has its own new lines. Okay, so this new line is not supposed to be there. This new line is not supposed to be there because this statement includes the new line. And this compound statement always ends with a suite, so it has the new line at the end. So this is actually wrong. No, it's not actually wrong because
it's one or the other, right?
no, yeah, but this one, compound statement ends with a new line, and then you have to have another new line in interactive input.
Oh, I see.
So it's good there. Let's see interactive in the full grammar spec. Interactive is a statement new line, right? So compound statement followed by a new line, or simple statements, and those. What is statement list? Oh, this one doesn't include a new line. Okay. Right, so this would include a new line in the actual grammar, but it doesn't here, so it's okay to put it here. And then eval, and this new line star, well, that's a lie. But since the tokenizer cannot really, or doesn't really put multiple new line tokens in a row, this is fine. This never happens. Also, this would be fine. The tokenizer can never generate the new line that would match here. So we can just leave the syntax as it was and just add the end marker. Now for interactive, let's see. Yes, that can be that can have an end marker. It can also be a new line. I think that's covered. Yes. And the expression input, the actual grammar eval needs to end with an end marker. Right, so I div this. The thing we're doing is adding this end marker everywhere. I do word-diff. Right, so adding end marker, adding an option with an end marker, and adding an end marker to the sequence. By the way, are you familiar with word-diff in the command line?
No, I'm not actually.
Okay, so -- word-diff gives you it's sort of like what you see on GitHub, where it highlights the pieces of the line that got added or removed, but it does it in the command line. So it does this plus for what's added and this minus for what's removed. And And this will also work for reflowed lines of text. So it basically ignores line ends. That makes sense.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I think if I do something like press enter in here, you won't see it. Yeah, so that's a good way of checking, you know, what changed on each line. Of course, the way it shows up on GitHub is probably even better than that, or at least it's a different way to look at it. It's always good to look at things in different ways. All right, so this is basically reverted to the original, except we added end markers. Okay. Let's refresh this. And so top level components adds end markers, converts the last thing to grammar snippets just so they're all the same. Now generate tokens. Checks token.rst, generates a list table with tokens and values. I think we checked this already, and it generates this token list, which is shorter because it doesn't have so many blank lines and doesn't have as many entries. So I think this is a good for a pull request. What do we do here? Maybe we could open an issue for it first, just so we have a number to refer to.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
Do we already have one here? So this is an unrelated issue.
Yeah, I was thinking, should we create one then for Newline?
No, we should just... open an issue for improving the token documentation. In general, probably.
There's an old one there that says an operator is missing in the list of tokens. I bet that one.
Nice.
Yeah, about halfway down.
Wait, so I just saw this one where somebody's saying that the token term is not being explained when it's mentioned.
Oh, great! Yeah.
So that's not the issue we are fixing here, but we should. We should probably link here. No. Okay, we can't just link. We would have to explain what a token is in a glossary, I guess. This introduction is far too technical to link to from the tutorial, so it's better to leave these unlinked. So we're not solving this issue today. I thought we could solve it easily, but no. Operator is missing in the list of tokens. Dot is missing in the list. No, dot is the delimiter. There isn't really a bright line distinguishing delimiters from operators. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably something to fix when we go through the lexical analysis page. And remember, we're going through the F strings and such. Yeah, these two tables should probably be merged together, because there is no difference between operators and delimiters as far as Python is concerned.
Should we refer to that issue in our pull request?
Not this pull request. Later we can fix this one. Grammar misses links that are present everywhere else. Oh yeah. Okay, we can fix that one later. Right, I don't see the issue we're solving, so let's open a new one. Documentation. Token. was I? Token here. Comment. This is not a link. This is a link.
Word secondary has 2 C's.
Oh, thanks. Propose adding something like this. Does that sound reasonable? Hope so. Okay, and here's our issue number. So gh dash issue number, add should put all the changes here. So let's open the changes in a new window. And what did we do? Add 100 and docs for the non-op tokens. Anti-offset. For the conversion chain entry for exclamation. it. And hopefully this will work. So this is documentation and skip news. We don't really need news for a documentation change. And hopefully there is, oh, there's some linter. That'll probably fail, right? Oh, it didn't. It's probably not configured for that particular piece of CPython. All right. Tests are going. Hopefully the generated files will be okay. And once that's green, I'll probably tag either Pablo or Lissandro's just to check if the docs are fine. Let's see. Oh, documentation page not found. What?
Did it not finish yet?
Oh, it didn't finish it. It's interesting. It added the link, but it didn't finish it. There's nothing to link to. Ooh, Read the Docs is using UV now.
Really? How interesting.
Oh, it probably saves them a bunch of compute money.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Anytime you have a faster tool, if you run it on a server, it'll save you money. Okay, so let's leave that to the CI and can switch to another topic. Or maybe you have something you want to talk about before we switch topics?
Gosh, I probably do, but I hadn't really thought of it. Well, I suppose. So I have this big PR that I've been trying to prepare, and it's basically a refactoring of a bunch of examples of the strings, of string operators, string methods.
All right.
And I think that, I think that maybe the way to deal with it is maybe have it almost do it like one commit, like one example at a time. Because it seems to me that somehow they always end up, when it's that big, it always seems to end up generating a lot of discussion and
right.
It's hard for me to. It's certainly hard for me to exercise the discipline to only do like one type of change throughout the text.
How do we find this easily?
Oh, I can find it easily.
Are you Blaze on GitHub? What's your username? Blaze PB, right?
Blaze P. Oh yeah, you could search for Blaze P.
Ah. Alright, add string method examples. It has its own issue. That has a bunch of open pull requests.
Yeah, I was thinking of closing many of them because
collapsible
it felt
sections is probably not the way to go, right? So are these basically duplicates? Or are you building on this one?
Yeah, he had that huge... Right, and so, but the thing is that he included some additional formatting, like document structure changes that people objected to. And so what I did was I extracted, I basically tried to create a new PR that only had, I cherry picked this, and that only had his string method examples.
Right.
But then unfortunately I started to make my own changes and then, fix things along the way. And so it became this long, in fact, at one point you did a review and you gave me a lot of really good input. But it's sort of, I suppose I could try to do that. I just worry that every time I make a big PR, that it's going to generate, some new level of discussion.
Yeah.
So maybe I should start over and just be like very, very meticulous about taking only his example and not making any additional change.
Or you could just split it by function. How many examples are you adding?
Oh, I
Is
see.
it like hundreds?
No. It's like maybe 20.
20.
I think 18 or something like that. Yeah, okay. It's less than 20. That's
so,
true. I could just do one for example. That means per function. Yes.
One per function. Or if there's a bunch of related functions, then group them together. But
I could make them much smaller. I could, yeah.
Yeah, we could just merge the easy ones, and if anything grows a discussion, that'll keep that particular one thing open longer. And if there's some structural problem to solve with the examples, then it's probably better to put the examples in and then do structural changes, or maybe put some examples in, and then it'll be easier to see what the required changes.
Sure.
So for structural changes, like how should this be structured if we have lots of examples, that is best answered when we actually do have more examples.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so if you splitted this into 20 pull requests, we have 1,800 pull requests now.
Yeah.
If you have 20 more.
Well, they're very simple. If they can, I think what I'm starting to learn is that if the pull requests can be reviewed quickly, then then that's probably better because it gets them out of the backlog.
Yeah. Maybe you could file 5 of them and see if there's
totally.
like some comment you're getting on all of them. Then you can change the other ones.
Yes, absolutely.
And when they're merged, so what I would also recommend is when they're merged, you update this big pull request and keep that as a to-do list, basically.
Yes.
All right. And
that's great. That's a great tip.
if you ping me there, I'll try to find some time.
Yeah. Well, I can also hit Cam too because he's maybe less busy.
Is Cam active?
I
haven't
think so. No.
seen him in a while.
Oh, well then maybe. Oh, now that you mention it, yeah. As a matter of fact, maybe he's not active.
Yeah. Maybe moved on to something
Oh,
a bit
okay.
different. He's still active in Spider.
I'm curious. That's true. I don't see him. I should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did a lot of work.
I think
then...
he did a lot of work, but I haven't seen him for a while now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
The only other thing is, I have wanted to learn more about Fedora packaging. I keep trying to get into that, and I've gotten as far as like gotten my Koji account to work and all of that business. But if there are any, every now and then some Python packages get orphaned, and I try to volunteer, but someone always beats me to it. So I don't know. So for example, one project that I know will be people are less likely to beat me to it is, and it once was a Fedora package, like in, I don't know, 29 or something like that. But it's been a while. Is the Tahoe LAFS,
okay.
Which is a project I've worked on a bit, and that one.
So you just dropped off? Was that intentional?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I have push to talk, and I'm not used to it yet.
Ah, I see.
I just activated push to talk. So in Tahoe LAFS, the build process is a bit messy, but so at this point, the only really reliable build is the one that's going out to pip, and so I wanted to see if I could give it a shot. And I guess I would start at COPR. Is that typically the way things work?
Yep. Well, COPR if you want to build it on server, but usually you do it locally so you can inspect stuff.
Okay. So then I would probably this happens to not be my Fedora laptop, but I do have a Fedora laptop. Would you say should I go ahead and try to build something like very simple, just to make sure that I've got all of the right IDs and things?
So what's your motivation? What do you ultimately want to do?
Yeah, right. So ultimately what I want to do is to get this package so that people can do things like DNF install Tahoe LAFS.
All right. Yeah, so start
and it's a Python package that already builds and is pushed to pip. To PyPI.
Tahoe LFS. So what's the name?
Oh, Tahoe? Oh, sorry. So it's TAHOE dash LAFS.
LAFS. Okay. Okay. So what's inside here? Point project toml. Built using hatchling. does so. It builds using pip.
Yes.
Okay, so
Well,
what
yeah.
what you'll want to do is go to COPR. I don't know if I have my credentials on this machine. Oh, probably. Nope. Huh. Well.
Oh, isn't that special?
Okay. There we go. That is special. So, yeah, make a new project here and build it using the automation. Like new build, PyPI. Just put in the PyPI package name. And that'll try to build it, and we'll see how far that goes.
Oh, that's great. So I can do that, and it won't actually push the PyPI. It'll just use the...
No, it'll pull from PyPI.
Oh, it'll pull from PyPI. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can totally do that.
So pip2spec is the modern, more experimental tool that should take all the modern Python packaging. I saw this has PyProject TOML, so it should be compatible.
It does, yeah.
So that should generate the spec file for you and basically make it all work, except the stuff that cannot be automated, which there's always something, especially with with the interesting projects. But yeah, then you can download the SRPM. Oh, this is a failed attempt, but somewhere in here you can find the source RPM and the spec that you can copy locally and play around with it. Maybe add some native dependencies and stuff. So that should get you started, and if you run into any issues, we can look at it next week maybe.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't really do this anymore, but hopefully I still know how to do it.
No, this gets me to the next step, and then I can bother somebody else.
Or me again. Alright, back to our regularly scheduled programming. There's this pull request from Adam, where we use production list nodes to implement the grammar snippet directive. Remember that one? Yeah.
So that's right. Yes, it was one of our to-dos. Very good.
So Adam improved Sphinx so that now if we put something in the Sphinx production list, like node, it will actually get picked up. So this will all be semantically correct. And this is then going to our extension and changing it so that, well, basically the changes, instead of literal block, this creates a production list. Right, so instead of literal block we do production list. That's basically it. It rearranges some stuff, which is probably fine. It uses some new Sphinx API, and there are two issues. Oh, it also changes the topics for which we have an open pull request. So the output of help will now be correct. Well, that's most of this pull request. There are a few little issues with this, and that is it's missing this highlight class, so it doesn't highlight strings, and it also yeah, there's one more problem, which is not really a problem in practice, but a production list in Sphinx is composed of productions, and this will add a production node for each line of the input. But there could be also multi-line productions, and semantically those should be well, they should have multi-line production nodes, right? Does that make sense? So if you have something like this, that should be one production node, but this goes line by line. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I think we need to change that, but what I wanted to look at is how Sphinx does it. Maybe Sphinx has the same problem. So I wanted to look at production list and Sphinx, and maybe it's here. And it takes production lines, which is just lines. Yeah, so Sphinx has the same issue. Well, the same issue as we do, and I don't think it really matters for the output, but semantically it would be nice to allow multi-line productions if that's possible. So I guess that would be my plan for the next hour.
Let's do it. I love it. Should we start with a failing test?
Test the documentation. Yeah. Ooh, that, I don't know. I don't know where to even begin. We should probably start with a failing Sphinx test, right?
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
But let's prototype it in CPython first.
That's a cool trick. You can add AA Turner as a remote?
Yeah, so remote add is my
oh, I see.
Tool, but you can see what it does, like git config remote a Turner URL, but this gives this just gives you the URL because I've already configured it. So let's see. What this does is it runs git config remote name URL, And if that succeeds, it fetches that remote.
Okay.
And if that does not already exist, it does git remote add dash fetch the name and the URL. So it's hard-coded to GitHub.
Nice. Okay.
And if that fails, it removes the remote, because even if you fetch, if the fetch fails, the remote, the bad remote stays configured, which is.
Oh, okay. So it cleans up after itself. Then.
Yeah, that's the main reason I wrapped it in this script, because I kept misspelling stuff, and also you need to put it in 2 places, but that's not that much of a problem. Also, it assumes the GitHub name is the same as the directory name. So yeah, probably should switch to something like the GitHub command line tool, but this predates that. Anyway, so we are on Adam's branch, and we can go to the tools, extensions, grammar snippets. So the first thing here was adding the highlight class. That would be classes highlight. I hope it takes the same stuff as the literal node before it, and I'll get let's make the documentation for that and see if we get highlighting back. So this would be reference, let's see, expressions. Yep, we got the highlighting back, so that's easy. The hard part will be formatting this correctly. So let's see, can I use rough, all checks passed? Really? Oh, this is, I have select I. Maybe I need to do this without select I. I'm having a hard time believing this is correct according to rough syntax guidance, but it says all checks passed. It's weird. Like, what? If I completely mess up the formatting, okay, well, that's bad. Wow. I didn't think you could write this and have it pass the rough check, but okay.
I think rough is less militant than black.
Ah, that's okay. It's a different tool.
Black would definitely not let you get away with that.
Oh yeah, well. I guess I'm too used to black then. Nice, okay. I like rough a bit more today. Alright, the next So Adam says, feel free to push changes to this branch. That's what we'll do. And now, make production. Okay, semantically, each grammar production should be contained in one production node. So this will be a bit hard to see and test. I think we need to do something like we need to run Sphinx manually and build with doc trees. I don't think we need doc tree directory, but we do need to be in doc. Oh, and we need to set the path as well, which is van bin Sphinx build, right? No. We can do the pseudo XML maybe. No, it's okay. Enough guessing. Let's look in the makefile. What can we do? Alright, there's a bunch of targets where it does build with builder set to something. Okay, so if we do make build but set builder to sudo XML, it'll do the right thing. Right. I don't know if you remember our old friend sudo XML.
No, I don't.
So Sphinx can build to multiple formats like HTML, LaTeX, text, EPUB, blah blah blah. And one of the formats is sudo XML, which is like a dump of the internal structure of the documentation. And this is, I think, intended at humans checking like how Sphinx parsed the input, right? So this is
okay.
like an XML file,
human.
except it doesn't have any ending quotes, and instead it always uses indentation. Right.
Very cool. So it's basically human readable XML.
Yes, sudo XML. Perfect name, right? So I now am looking at expressions.sudo.xml, and I want to look at some multi-line production like this literal here. Alright, let's see if I can find literal. Oh, literal is also a name of a node, so that's not very good example. Let's not look at expressions. Let's look at compound statements. Those should be more complicated. Right, and then there's a complicated example right at the beginning. So compound statements, sudo XML, and here we go. So we have a paragraph, we have a literal block with the highlight class, and inside we have a literal strong. Huh. Is that correct? I think this might be using a cache from earlier. So let me remove doc build entirely and try again. Because with the new extension, there should be a production list rule here. And while it builds, let me go to the bathroom for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah, of course.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. There we go. This probably took a lot less time than I took for myself. Anyway,
yeah, you were very... Yeah.
Here we have a production list, and inside is a bunch of productions. And so let's look again how this looks rendered. So there's compound statement. This all is one production, right? It's multi-line with one name, and if we look in here, it has one production tag for each line, which is semantically not correct. Is the problem understandable?
Yeah, I think so.
Not sure if it is really a problem in practice, but let's try solving it anyway. So what I'll do first is build the HTML and check once again that the highlighting works as before, because things were cached before. And then we can look at the extensions and see what happens with multi-line productions, right? So we do have highlighting. Let's look in here. So there's make production, which is called for each line of the content. So far so good. This is grammar snippet base. Common functionality for both our directives. What's different is option and argument handling. And make grammar snippet, I guess, is the function that's called either directly or with some pre-processing. And what that does is does some setup, goes through each line of the content and makes the production, and then wraps it all up in a production list nodes. Set source info is something Adam added that I wouldn't have thought of. So make production, this adds one line of production, Okay, and it returns a production node. It will use our grammar regular expression to handle matches, and it'll add little pieces of text to the production node and then return it. So yeah, that looks changeable. So what we want to do is call this function, still call this function for each line, but only add a new production if there's a new production on the line, which pretty much means the line is not indented. That's an easy way to tell if it is starting a new production. We already use this Fortran style convention because we do identifier at start of line. So if there's anything in the first column, we're starting a production.
Interesting.
So
okay.
Very simple convention. And I think it works that way for all the common ways to write down grammars. So what we will do, what I will do is convert this list comprehension into a loop because it's getting more complicated. So production starts out as an empty list, and then for each line in the content we make a production and append it to productions. So alright, that should do the same thing as before. And now we have this production node, and we don't want to create a new production node for each line. So we rename this function to add production line, and have it take the production node, and I don't know what the type of this is. Oh, add node's production is a type name, right? There, and we don't need to have it return anything. And we pass it in like that. Too used to the black style formatting here. So this will be and just to make it even more obvious, let's rename this one to source line. Everywhere. Sphinx style formatting here as well. Or so black style, sorry. Okay. And now this production node is only created if there's something in column 1. So we set it to none at the beginning, and if it is none, or if the source line so the first character of the source line usually would write the first character like this, but if I do this and source line is empty, I don't get an error.
Oh, I see.
There's probably something like isspace, and master isspace. This is probably where having autocomplete would have helped. So if source line is none, or if there's not a space in the first line. So what happens here if the line is empty? Isspace will return true. So it's a continuation line, which is fine. Okay. So we have production node set. And now what we need to do is add the productions, production to productions, which holds a list. Right. And we don't need this list. We need a list of production nodes. So production nodes. We append it in here and here. Don't need this production variable because this function no longer returns anything. And we put production nodes in here. Let's see if that does something useful. Well, no, it doesn't, because the cache is still there. Let's look in here. And we have one production that has compound list, if statement, while statement, for statement. The whole thing is here. Now the one bad thing about the sudo XML is it doesn't preserve white space really well because it adds indentation. So you can't really tell if the new lines are handled properly from this. Right, it's just to check the structure. It doesn't actually preserve all the information. So for that, I guess we'll need to build the HTML.
Oh, I see. But it's mostly to give you to give a human being a kind of a. In other words, it's not meant to be formal, right?
Right. I think you can also build like XML, which is more formal, though who knows if you can actually parse it back in and build something useful from it. Where were we? Here. Okay. Nothing changed. But the formatting is correct. There's one more thing to make better here, and that's we're adding the source line to the production node, and then we're not appending anything more here, and I'm not sure how to add stuff to this argument. I'm not even sure what this argument is, to be honest. So I'm tempted to leave it as leave it like this. Send these two commits back to Adam's branch and continue the conversation. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what changed here? We have a list of production nodes. We only add one when we want to. This deserves a comment. Okay. Hopefully this will pass the rough check. Yes, it will. Nice. And we merge multi-line merge. Okay, hopefully that'll work. Now I push to Adam's branch, call docs production list grammar, and reply on the pull request. So the first thing I want to point out is the top level components, because the extension defines two directives, with the new syntax, but also, what's the name? A compat production list. That overrides the we have syntax highlighting and existing productions lists too. Next up, I added code to merge multi-line productions, or to merge each multi-line production, or merge the lines of
Feel free to add me as a co-author in case he is looking for somebody to choke.
You're not here. Ah. Need to. Yeah, let's add you. Do you have your
Sure.
author string ready?
Yeah, I'll just
it's
paste it in the
still in the chat.
I'll just paste it.
Aha. So I'll commit with you as an author. Alright.
Oh,
so
that's great. I didn't know about allow empty.
There's an empty commit with you as an author, so when this is squashed, it should mention you, hopefully.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there it is.
Sphinx might need a similar change, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hope it's useful.
I hope that the convention that rules start well, is relevant for all the grammar Sphinx wants to adopt. I mean, Sphinx only implements regular BNF so far.
Yeah.
So let's leave it at that. It should be fine. Okay, what is wrong here? Lint! Of course lint is wrong. I just ran rough, but no, rough format would reformat stuff. Rough format. One file reformatted, okay.
Oh, was that rough that's running in the GitHub expression? That's strange that it didn't complain when we ran it locally.
Yeah. What did I... Oh, I ran rough check and rough lint, but not rough format.
Oh, I bet rough format is more similar to black.
Probably. Well, I mean, each of these tools is run in a different way, and yeah, well. So there's one more thing. This is resolved now. This is fine. The other one's fine too. The problem now is here. I'll leave that to Adam. Okay, I guess that's as far as I want to take the pull request today. And we can go back to the earlier one. Oh, it looks like everything's green. Let's check the docs. No link PRs. Wait. Oh, this is the pull request. Have a preview now. Yes. Token. So maybe I want to link this directly.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
And let's tag someone like Lysandros. I don't know if Lysandros is active. Looks active.
Yeah, February 18th.
All right. that would be it for what I wanted to do today, and we still have 15 minutes left. So, is there anything you'd like to do in these 5 minutes? These 15 minutes? Or should we go back to lexical analysis? Maybe we should add a glossary entry for the term token.
Yeah, that's an excellent 15-minute task.
Hopefully it's 15 minutes. So let's go to main, pull that, a new branch, token glossary, and where does the glossary live? In glossary.rst. This looks alphabetic. So that's here, right? Token. Alright, how do we describe tokens? Tokens generated by the lexical analyzer. So what does the Tokenizer module do again? Provides a lexical scanner. Allows you to tokenize source code or something like that. want to also say that tokens are generated by the lexical analyzer. Should have a reference, yes. Tokenize module lets you run the lexical analyzer. Should we say that the lexical analyzer can also be called the tokenizer?
Yeah, I think tokenizer is like the concrete name. Like the module, if I understand it correctly, the module called tokenize is the lexical analyzer.
Right, or well, the module called tokenize allows running or provides functions to run the lexical analyzer.
Yeah, it performs the duties, or includes the responsibility, or includes the activity of being the lexical analyzer.
I know, exposes Python's lexical analyzer. That's the word I was looking for.
There we go. Yeah, exposes.
There we go. I'm happy with that one. And we also want to go into the lexical analysis RST. This is also known as the tokenizer. Token is a term. I think that's the Sphinx way to mark up terms. Term. Yeah, that looks good. And the term is actually token, right? Not tokens. Lexical analyzer should also be a term, right? So I also want to add an entry for lexical analyzer. Here. Not that good at alphabetical sorts.
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect.
Does this look good?
That's really good. Yeah, excellent.
All right. And now we link token from the place in this issue, like chapter 8 and 14 of the tutorial. So that's errors and interactive. Errors.rst. Maybe token is repeated. No, it's not. Interactive RST. An indent. Ah, this token dot indent. Right. I think it's data. Should follow the formatting this file already uses, which is 2 spaces after
oh, okay. I
after
see.
dots. So I recently learned that this convention is here because of the Emacs editor. Well, the original Python authors used Emacs, and it has special reformatting tools, or like sentence navigational tools. I don't know if there's more places to update, but this will have to do for today because we have a minute left. So let me just check the output. So this should be interactive in the tutorial. Oh, undefined labeled token. Where errors.rst. I have term token. Not. Okay. Errors is also in the tutorial, hopefully. So, where are my docs here? So, glossary token. Oh, lexical analyzers, formalizer for the tokenizer, C token. And I guess we should also rewrite this to say the tokenized module exposes Python's lexical analyzer, because it's no longer fully implemented in Python. But that's for next time. Tokens are fine. Lexical analysis links to tokens. Yeah, that's a bit of a recursive definition linking this here, because that just puts you back, but it also links to the Python modules, which is probably good. Now for the tutorial. Errors and exceptions. Token. Yeah. maybe some more generic term like at the place in the line where the error was detected would be more
Yeah,
appropriate
that's actually
here.
great. That's a great. Yeah.
Yeah, token
So
is
point in the line. Yeah.
much too generic.
Maybe the location or the position in the line.
Yeah, something like that. Let's leave
Or
that
we
for
could say
next time.
little arrows indicating the position.
Let's leave it for next time. Let's think about it for a week.
Fair enough.
And let's use the existing issue filed by somebody a long time ago. Oh, not that long time ago. Okay, token glossary is our current branch, and let's continue next week. Thank you for your attention.